Dad, you're not going to tell me you're going to break your promise to me, are you? My eldest son, who was having trouble with money I was sending him, started to blame me. You know you were weak when you were told that. My name is Frank. I turned 67 years old this year. I receive a pension, however, with the rising costs of things, and due to my close relationships with my part-time colleagues, I decided to continue to work at the same supermarket where I've been employed for many years. My wife passed away 2 years ago. She was 5 years older than me and was a kind woman. We have 2 sons, but my wife has always been lenient with Kevin because he was the eldest son, and my wife had to put up with him a lot. Nevertheless, she was also kind to Jack, her second son, and was a good wife and mother. There was one thing that was unforgivable in that sweetness. That was the allowance sent to the oldest son. Our eldest son, Kevin, is a 35-year-old office worker and has been married for 7 years. He also has 2 children. Although he has become a father himself, he is not a good parent or that thick-skinned, to be honest. Kevin often asks us for money. "Having 2 kids is tough," is a catchphrase of Kevin's. I do understand that it is tough, but I think his wife, who is a full-time housewife, could at least work part-time if their household finances are tight. However, his wife reportedly says she doesn't want to work at all. His wife is quite beautiful and seems to have been pampered since she was young. Kevin was boasted about her being an amateur magazine model, but I don't really understand how amazing that really is. Working a part-time job around here doesn't make much money compared to modeling, does it? I felt belittled when Kevin's wife made fun of me for working at the supermarket, even though she knew I had been working there. I used to dislike his wife, but my wife decided to be a caregiver for her grandchildren and provided financial support to Kevin and his wife every month. Apparently, the amount of financial support increased as they demanded more, and after my wife passed away, I discovered that she had been providing almost $800 a month. Although my wife was living on her pension, she had made investments in stocks for a long time, so it had a decent income, so she didn't seem to have a hard time providing the support. However, even after my wife passed away, Kevin and his wife still demanded the same amount of financial support every month. I told him to make do with his inheritance since it was coming soon, but he dismissed me because he wanted to build a house. Kevin always says that I'm working and also have a pension, so it's not too much to ask me to provide a little bit of support to him and his wife, who are raising 2 kids. For the most part, Jack remains single and it's unlikely that he'll have children. My younger son Jack has never had a girlfriend and gives off a sullen impression when compared to his older brother, Kevin. However, Jack is a hard worker and seems to be on a successful career path at his current company. Although they are contrasting characters, both are my sons. I understand Kevin's point of view, but I can't allow any statements that make Jack look bad. However, whenever it comes to the grandchildren, I inevitably become sentimental. And don't tell me you're going to break your promise to Mom. I feel weak when I'm spoken to strongly like this. I've always loved and respected my late wife, so I want to respect her wishes. If my wife said that she gives monthly support to our elder son's family, I want to abide by her will. In the end, I have been giving my elder son's family a monthly allowance of $800. One day, I received a call from Kevin. "The kids are always saying their friends get lots of toys and go on trips, but why can't we buy these things for them? Is it possible for you to help us out a little more?" I got mad because Kevin said this without any hesitation. "I'm giving you $800 every month. What are you using it all for? You have your own income. Come on." We had another argument, and eventually Kevin laughed it off with a snort. "It's only $800 a month. I don't need such a small amount of money." I don't like Kevin, who squeezes money out of me, nor the daughter-in-law who looks down on me. Why do I have to be spoken to like that? Kevin probably thinks that if he speaks with confidence, I'll listen to him again, but I won't let them do what they want anymore, so I firmly said, "Stop." As I said that, I could clearly hear a voice saying, "Yes," from the other side of the phone. "We won't help you. You're on your own." After I said that, I hung up the phone. The phone rang for a while, but I became annoyed and turned off my smartphone. This can't be good for my older son and daughter-in-law, or for my grandchildren. I put my hands together in front of a picture of my late wife and reported what had happened to her. I'm sure my wife would understand my feelings. After a while, when I turned off my smartphone, I received an enormous amount of emails, all from my eldest son and my daughter-in-law. It's from my eldest son and his wife. My eldest son wrote, It was a joke. I said $800 was enough, but my wife was in trouble without the support. Are your grandchildren not adorable? That was what it said. I thought about what to do, but I replied to my eldest son that it was not a joke. I sent a message to my daughter-in-law saying if she can't find someone to take care of her children, then she should work for herself, and that whether she thought her children were cute. This weekend, my younger son Jack unexpectedly showed up at my home. He seems to have settled down at work and is able to relax a bit more. Even though they both live in the same city, Jack hasn't seen his older brother and sister-in-law in a while because he's been so busy with work and they haven't been in touch. I was about to go shopping to make Jack's favorite food when the doorbell rang. I had just stepped outside and had just opened my front door, so I was surprised to see my eldest son and my daughter-in-law standing there, saying something quite unexpected. I haven't received this month's payment, so I came to pick it up. So it's $800 for this month. You said $800 would be fine, Kevin said to me, irritated. I told you, no more support, I said without backing down. Now, the wife opened her mouth. That's a problem. We've come all this way, so please pay up quickly. She still says such incredulous things. No matter what they say, I refuse to change my mind, and then my daughter-in-law started to cry. Don't you feel sorry for the children? They're being teased by their friends because they're the only ones living in poverty. Is she thinking that if she cries, she'll get money? I almost feel like crying myself. What is she spending her earnings on every month? It's strange that she's always short on money. Depending on the answer, I might consider supporting them, but I can't just give support so easily if I don't know how she's spending her money. Kevin sighed. It's different now than it was in the past. Things cost a lot more money, and my salary doesn't even cover rent and food expenses. No way. How low is your salary? If you live in a mansion or only eat gourmet food, I might understand that, but my eldest son and his wife live in a regular rental apartment, and it's unlikely that they spend hundreds of dollars on food. Then, show me your checking book. If that's true, I'll consider it. When I said this, Kevin's wife immediately countered. How dare you ask us to show you our checking account? It's personal information. Besides, why would I keep such a poor record of my finances? I held back on the various things I wanted to say. Do you think we're lying? Do you think she's a terrible mother? If we can't afford around $800 a month, then neither of us will be able to take care of you if something happens to you, he said boldly. I thought I would say no, but the next moment I heard a voice behind me. You don't have to. Jack came out of the living room. Kevin was surprised. I just happened to be back. Brother, you're still pestering Dad for money, Kevin glared at Jack. It's none of your business. Stay out of it, Jack said. If you work normally and live normally, it's strange that your salary would run out on just rent and food expenses. Are you buying brand name stuff again? Jack said. According to Jack, Kevin and his wife like brand named items, and they live extravagantly by eating out and ordering meals all the time. The clothes and bags they are wearing today also look like brand name items. After Jack finished talking, he told me not to worry, and that if anything happens, he will take care of it. Then, the eldest son and his wife started to say that it would be a problem. Of course, the trouble is not me, but the fact they're not getting money from me. I sighed. Get it together and start keeping a checking account book and review your expenses. If that's still not enough, find work, even if it's part-time, and try to do something on your own before relying on others, Jack said, chasing my eldest son and his wife out. Jack is like a child who has inherited all the kindness of my wife and is very caring towards me, but I still can't take care of my kids. Even if something happens, my wife has left enough money to put me in a facility. That's why she's a great wife. Then Jack said something unexpected. After a peaceful period, suddenly my grandchild called me on the phone. The older one is a girl in primary school and had her own cell phone. Apparently, she used it to call me because it had been set up so that she could also call in case of an emergency. After listening to her, I learned that she was not allowed to attend extracurricular activities and play with her friends. The reason was that it cost money for both extracurricular activities and to play with friends. The family only ever goes out to the nearby department store to buy Kevin's clothes and to buy his wife brand name items. Sometimes they leave the children behind to go out. Upon hearing my grandchild's voice crying while telling me this, I became even more angry. I decided to implement a plan to comfort my grandchild. A week later, I called the eldest son's family over and told them it was about offering assistance. Jack was also told to stand by in case something happened. My eldest son and his family, misunderstanding my intentions to give them money, happily came over with the grandchildren. However, that was not the case. When the two of them entered the living room, Kevin's expression changed. "What are you trying to do?" They must have realized that it is not a talk that will get them money. I told Jack about my grandchild, and he decided to help me. Later, the intercom rang, and I welcomed the guests. Kevin's wife was surprised when she saw them. "Huh? Hey, what's up?" My daughter-in-law's parents and her younger sister were there. I contacted them and explained everything, and they decided to come today. They were angry, and my daughter-in-law looked pale when they found out about what was going on. Jack was taking care of the grandchildren in another room, so I explained the situation again. My son and daughter-in-law hung their heads in shame, and the mother-in-law glared at them. Apparently, they were also receiving about $600 a month as support for their grandchildren's extracurricular activities. They were shocked when they found out that their child had been calling me behind their backs. After talking everything out, I finally said something. "So, did you keep a household budget?" I asked, but the eldest son and his wife all shook their heads. I thought that was probably the case. They are at least mindful about spending money, but there was not a hint of an effort to cut down on their frivolous spending or to manage their finances. "Kevin, what's your salary? I assume you haven't received a raise yet." Kevin's company is still old-fashioned and operates on a seniority system to some extent, but he never seemed to have been promoted. If he wasn't promoted, that means his salary never increased. I remember telling him that when he first started working, his salaries would go up significantly if he got a promotion, but judging from Kevin's somber expression, he doesn't seem to have been promoted. It's pitiful to think that he was my son. I turned to the daughter-in-law and started talking. "You don't want to find a job like mine, working part-time at the supermarket. How about a modeling job?" At this, the daughter-in-law lowered her head, and after, her sister bursted out laughing. "Did you say that you were earning money by working as a model? It was just one time that you were in a magazine, right? And even then, you were criticized for looking too cheap in a petite prix future." When I shook my head at the unfamiliar words, she told me petite prix meant cheap but cute clothes. However, even though petite prix was supposed to have value beyond its listed price, her outfit was said to look exactly like its exact price. When I told her I had heard her sister was an amateur magazine model, she laughed it off, saying it couldn't be true. Did she lie because she thought I wouldn't understand? The younger sister was flashy but beautiful, but the elder sister was raising 3 kids, so looks can be deceiving. The elder sister's face turned red and she continued to lower her head. Kevin didn't seem to know about the situation either, and was staring at his wife suspiciously. "Anyway, I and your parents will not provide any assistance from now on. But just so that your grandchildren won't suffer, you need to keep a proper budget, avoid wasting money, and look for a job. If it's not enough, open up your budget and consult with us on what's needed, and continue the extracurricular activities for the grandchildren. Understood?" Everyone nodded, shrinking, so I added, "Kevin, work hard like Jack so you can be promoted." Kevin had a tendency to look down on Jack, so I mentioned Jack on purpose, causing Kevin to look downcast. His wife was scolded by her parents, and her sister revealed the truth, causing her to shrink in embarrassment too. Think about the children before buying clothes and brand-name products at the department store, and make sure you never spread lies about them being poor or bullied in the future. When my grandson called me and told me that he wasn't bullied or told by friends that he was poor, I felt relieved. Although the grandchildren showed energetic faces, Kevin and his wife got into the car with a gloomy look and went back. After that, my eldest son and his wife moved in with his wife's parents and are now being strictly monitored. Since their in-laws lived in the same neighborhood, the grandchildren didn't have to transfer schools and were able to continue their lessons as usual. Later, with the help of my younger sister who came to assist in the move, Kevin's wife's clothes, shoes, and name brand products were sold off, and the amount made was returned to me. Of course, I knew that wasn't enough, but I thought it couldn't be helped, and the money was being gradually transferred to me every month by my daughter-in-law's father. When I heard about their move, I thought it would be a burden on my daughter-in-law's parents, but her father seemed to enjoy instructing Kevin on how to properly keep track of his finances. This was because he was an accountant. As for me, Jack built a 2-family house for us, so I moved there. When Jack came home and said he wanted to get married and live together in the 2-family house, I was surprised, but his fiancée was a hard-working and cute girl, and now I am about to have one more grandson, so I'm looking forward to it.